Hello and welcome everyone to the LCS Challengers League presented by Subway. Of course we play our games during the Super Bowl. I'm Kangas and I'm joined today by Cubby. Who you got winning, Chiefs or 49ers?
I've been tweeting about this. It has to be the 49ers. I cannot have Swiftie fans, their first year following the NFL, win at the end, all right? They have to struggle, all right?
You've been so rude about this
have.
opinion, too. As a Taylor Swift fan yourself, do you hate them that much?
No, I'm a huge Taylor Swift fan, but they can't have the Eras Tour and the Chiefs winning the Super Bowl in the same year. That's too much, all right? We need to have...
They're winning too much.
No, we need to create the new generation of sports fandom where they need to see their team do well and then tragically lose. Because then there'll be true fans, and there'll be good fans, you know?
Okay.
This is me as a Chicago sports fan. I'm just salty that
we all know that Cubby hates Taylor Swift fans because he thinks he's the best. We also know that he'll have the Super Bowl up on the side monitor throughout these games that we're about to be casting. So I'll be checking in with him to see how the Super Bowl is going. Sorry if anyone's looking for a spoiler-free cast. We have our own show ahead of us today, though. So let's take a look at the standings for the NACL as we are closing out the week. First place, it is a tie. Cubby, FlyQuest continue winning, and so do the collegiate representatives in Maryville.
I mean, I tweeted it out yesterday. That's going to be a fun match in Week 6 when it is UG and Spyrax going up against their old org in FlyQuest. It's funny because, you know, I was talking with you on Friday. The very first game I casted was Tenacity versus Niles. That was Maryville DSG. You know what? The other first game I casted was, at the time, the two best teams in Scouting Grounds were 100 Next and Maryville. They were two of them. And that was a Papa Smithy ran team that was in first versus Maryville, the top collegiate squad. They're performing in Challengers. I got to say, they weren't even, they had a different lineup running in the collegiate tournaments in fall, but they weren't even taking top 2 in those tournaments. It was all Winthrop and Slew, the core of Wildcard. So Winthrop, they're playing in OQs right now. They're going to be a scary team that a lot of teams will be fearful of come relegations. And Mirage Alliance plays later today, and they got to start winning games to avoid relegation.
Yeah, I was going to say, we can talk about the top, let's talk about the bottom as we look at the schedule for the day. Mirage yet to pick up a series win, many of their series as well, not even picking up a game win. They're playing second. First off, we have Fear versus LiT, and what's very interesting with the schedule for this spring is that some teams had their spring split front-loaded. Mirage has already played 5 series. AoE's only played 2, Fear's played 2, LiT's played 3. So AoE and Fear will be playing a bit of catch-up in the second half of the spring split, but they're going to start today, Fear versus LiT. And when we're talking about kind of expectations going into this one, this is the game, this is a series that we expect could go the distance all the way to 3 as we take a look at the roster, starting off with Fear. And wow, these are some incredible photos. I did not know these were going to be on screen.
I feel like this is what the 49ers did to try and make sure that Taylor Swift can't win the Super Bowl, you know? This is how they came out of the huddle.
I really hope that this is just one person that's pretending to be all of them, because clearly, like, the watch is. This is just one guy.
I'm gonna go with no. There is some nice drip though coming out here as Fear having some fun. Also, shout out to Sensei Fear. If you follow them on Twitter, they have been posting their team comms. They've been hectic, as I would expect for a team that has just solely Philip in it. Not to mention the rest, but Philip and Daption are what I like to call dopamine gamers, where they hype up the boys. You know, anyone does something good, they're gonna clog comms just to hype them up, which I do kind of love. So their comms videos are really funny. And Cincy Fear, despite only playing 2 matches, I mean, they give FlyC a hell of a run for their money in the last match. The only team that has taken a game off them so far. Frankly, they should have won that best of 3 series too. So excited to see what they can do against it today.
Looking like one of the powerhouses potentially in the second half. Let's take a look at their opposition, though, as LiT Esports picked up a very nice win yesterday. The first Smolder game played at competitive level, as well as a win in the mid lane. Message is pulling that one out. And even though bot lane really kind of fell apart early on for them, it's cool to see this team, the newest to promote into the league, be able to bounce back in those rough early games.
I mean, this is a team where I think early season, like the first couple weeks, the matches that I was watching back on my stream, I was just like, man, the team that just has more convictions winning games, right? Like whoever's making hauls as a squad, following up on those. It feels like LiT has those for better or worse. And I think LiT, for me, it's like some early mid games explode in their favor and some explode in their face. And that really has been what summed up their game so far.
Yeah, pretty much. And I think that for such a young squad, That's kind of expected. You know, at least there's action happening.
Yeah.
I would rather have a team show up and either lose hard or win hard and be at one of those extremes or bounce between those extremes than just kind of do nothing, right?
Yeah, and like I know that, you know, I gave a chaotic summary, but LiT are showing some unique picks and some flair in terms of how they are approaching the game. I think Seraphine is a big pick for them that's done really well. Also, I got to give credit individually to Dragoon. I think Dragoon has really exceeded my expectations and what I'm seeing so far. He's proved that he's one of the better Udyr players that we have. And some of the flex picks, I mean, the Darius, the Mordekaiser, I think his Mordekaiser game was really good against FlyQuest, pretty much completely neutralized the Callista later on. So I really like seeing that. Also, that wasn't against FlyQuest. It was against Wildcard. But hey, you know, regardless, it was earlier in the week. It was really good to see. So yeah.
Yeah. And I think highlighting Dragoon, when you look at the opposition in Philip, because Dragoon is somebody he promoted twice into the NACL. Fun fact, if we're going all the way back to last summer, he joins in, then he isn't actually on that team's roster going into the summer split. But we know that he has what it takes to compete at this level. He's up against Philip, a name that even some LCS viewers, also welcome the LCS viewers who we just got rated by. Philip has had some time in the LCS, a lot of time at the NACL level, and this is a top lane matchup that we will be paying a lot of attention to because Philip's kind of a known quantity, and Dragoon is the challenger coming in here saying, look, I've been at this level, I can compete with these guys.
Excited to see what that looks like in Giraffe. I do want to go off of that, though, Kangas, because you know, Philip is a little bit more of a known quantity. It's weird because, like, I've been casting now for almost 4 years, and some of the players that were coming up, like when I started, now we're calling them more known quantities. Right. I gotta say, I thought that Philip last split, low-key, was actually really strong on Cincy Fear in summer. Of course, Fear had a decent run. They top 4'd again. Philip was a rock in the top lane on that Renekton. I think if Philip's had, again, another stronger split, he is coming off a series against Surdy, where Surdy, the top laner that we were really hyping up coming into this split, Surdy blundered his lane phase in that last game as Rumble into Scion. Philip really cashed in on that, ended up being really big in that game. It kind of was tragically lost in the end by Fear, as FlyQuest had a couple better team fight angles. But I've seen good things out of Philip, and I think that it really is Philip's growth arc because he's had the highs, but it hasn't been consistent enough, especially in lane, to really have him be a top laner that we have in Challengers. I feel like he's been hitting that a little bit more this split. It's been really good to see.
Well, I mean, if we really want to make you feel like you've been casting for a long time, you talk about Philip, we got to talk about Chad as well, another one of those names that was coming up around that 2020, 2021 time, and he's stepping in here to Cincinnati Fear, a very active jungler, but when we look at the losses, for example, against FlyQuest, sometimes we see maybe some misenergy of when Toasty and Chad want to go in together, so that's another thing we'll be highlighting and looking at going into this game. The mid jungles, because it's very different between both teams. Chad and Toasty, we see a little bit of dis-synergy, but Kisno and Messages so far have looked stellar together.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fun because for me with Fear's games, I think that Lens and Daption and Philip are actually all playing really well. Chad and Toasty just aren't quite on the same page. I mean, if I'm Fear right now, they won a good 3-game series in their debut against Mirage Alliance. Game 1, Toasty got blown out of the water by RGS, and they came back and won. Toasty had some great angles on the Nico later on, too. But sometimes, like, we expected this. And I know from talking with Chad before the season, he really wanted to play with Toasty because, like a lot of us see, Toasty shows really good team fight angles. He sees fights well.
Yep.
He's a young player that needs to learn how to lane better and just play competitive. If you round out those skills, I think that Toasty could be a very strong mid laner. It really is just kind of getting Toasty there. And I want to see Chad and Toasty work together to figure out a plan that's going to work for both of them moving forward.
Toasty known for more of the mid to late game plays, not the laning phase, where Chad often the most active. But catching up on the draft so far, we have a lot of those signature picks banned away. You mentioned the Seraphine being something that honestly both teams could lean into. That's taken off the table with Orianna Ashe. Smolder's banned. I know it's been popping up here and there, but we will not get it this time around with the Kindred and the Maokai. So it's Melio Blue 1 for Cincinnati Fear. Does have a few pairings, maybe the Lucian, things like that are still on the table.
I do love the Varus Azir pairing. I've talked about this a lot. I think that these two champions complement each other really well, no matter what the build is for Varus. If it's poke Varus, you can go in on Azir, ult him into Varus, and that's pretty much a one-shot if you land the combo. If it's on hit Varus, just ult him backwards, give Varus space, and he can do enough damage to pretty much pump the entire team. So, I think it's a good combo. On the other side, though, I will say that Daption and Lens, they get my Lucian Melio pass. Lucian actually wins in Challengers League as above a 50% win rate. And I think that these two have actually been good on the pick. Lens, as a marksman, someone that with Wildcard last year, I thought was going aggressive, often at good times. He is someone that will step forward, will go in. And I find more times than not, Lens is going to come out on top of those. So I think that Lucian is a pick where he can really demonstrate his ability to find angles and find his opportunities to slide in there. And excited to see more of it as Chad decides to go for the Sejuani that's been cropping back up into the meta, Kangas.
Yes, yeah, big frontliner. Not necessarily what Chad has made a reputation for himself playing, but definitely something that I feel like he should be comfortable on. Also, shout out to Daption, has played 6 unique champions. A reminder, this is Fearless Draft. For anybody joining from LCS or maybe folks who just haven't seen the show before, you cannot play the same champion 2 games in a row. That has expanded the champ pool a little bit, but Daption so far across 6 games has not repeated a champion once. This is his first repeat now with Emilio locked in. Lens has been leaning into that Lucian, as you mentioned. Xin Zhao being the response from Kizno, though. How do we feel about this with the Varus and Azir combo?
With Xin, there's only really one way to go. That is in. I'm curious to see what ends up happening. It is interesting. Sejuani cropping back into the meta. This does set up for something like a Toasty Akali, and I would expect to see that banned here by LiT. I think Toasty's...
He's played 2 games of it so far.
Yeah, he's really capable on the champ, so that takeaway is good. And now I'm interested if they actually want to go for the Sylas, because Sylas is a pick that we haven't seen a lot of. I think Sylas is really missing the Everfrost from last season. But Sylas has 3 really quality ultimates to grab. As Xin Zhao, low-key, has a decent AP ratio on that R, which, of course, Sylas likes a lot. So I think that it could still be an angle, and I wouldn't be surprised they actually have to throw both bans at him.
Yeah, we do see that Akali ban that you were highlighting, so that is a big pickup. Orianna is another one that we know Toasty is known for. Nico is on the table if they wanted to go for something like that, but we're hovering that ban finally. Darius is a classic ban against Dragoon. How many games in a row is this? I know it was, they played Friday, and that was 2 games banned in a row.
It's funny.
So that makes 3 now.
I'm gonna sort by bans here, like 4 challengers, and just kind of see.
How many Dragoon Darius bans do we have? We'll have Cubby update us on that, as Jax is actually the ban away. So not another mid laner. This is a top laner.
14 Darius bans in challengers, because Dragoon's not the only one. So it's like, hold on.
Yeah, Quacker plays it too.
It's 12th on the list in terms of bans. It's the 12th most banned champion, thanks to Quacker and Darius. That's really funny, actually.
Oh, I love Challengers League.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very popular champ for a lot of the top laners that are trying to solo carry games or just trying to have pop-off performances. Counters a lot of the meta. Speaking of, Udyr is the final ban here for top laner. Scion is on the table if they wanted to lean towards that. But they do also have a support as the option. Save that top counter pick to the very end.
Honestly, I find it kind of funny because when you do ban Darius, it is a pick that you can play into Udyr top. Dragoon and Quacker was the one that proved it earlier in the split, even before the buffs. And wow, this whole time, Karma just slinked through the entire draft. So yeah, Karma's in pairing is really good. Dragoon's going to save the 5 pick. I wouldn't be surprised to see Cassante just picked up here by Philip.
Yeah, it's a safe pick. But going back to the Karma, I also love it with Varus. You have so much bot lane wave control, whereas traditionally on Red's side, you're more focused on, okay, how do we prevent the dive? Well, hey, how do they get the wave in to your turret if you're playing Varus Karma? Let's see what the answer is now as we go for the solo lanes of Fear. Corki's already locked in, so we get Corki Azir. Everyone, shout out to the observers. We do not really need to pay too much attention to mid then, I guess. Even though that is what we were kind of talking about going in, is the mid-jungle combo. But now at this point, I feel like that's just going to be a farm fest.
Honestly, though, Kangas, something that we definitely felt with a live patch on Friday, we saw Corki be piloted. And I believe it was Young. And the timers were really off in terms of packages. Because it went from 60 to 45 seconds. And we did see it be... Yeah, we did see it be a lot more difficult for people to connect with those Corki packages and line it up. So something to look out for Fear if they're able a little bit more time in the patch to figure this out.
Top Karma. Top lane Karma.
They're going to do it.
Flux is hovering other supports. Oh, man.
Damn.
Right at the end. I thought we've heard about the solo lane Karma, top lane Karma. We've seen a little bit about that, but I guess no, we'd rather just take the tank matchup.
I do think against the Sejuani, it's a little risky. You can't get overwhelmed. She does have like the slow resist early on, so she can get on you. And Aatrox is good follow-up for that. But we'll just be Karma bot. Sante into the top lane for Dragoon. And honestly, I do like the Witch draft right now. I think Xin Zhao with the Karma is going to do a nice job of holding the line with Cassante. And I'm really low on Corki. And I actually really want to see Toasty go for the auto attack Corki build. You will have the bonus range from Milio. And I think that with some of the changes being made, with Malignance like no longer helping proc Eclipse, I think you can still go Eclipse, but I like Spirit Shojin a lot still on Corki. I feel like that's been a little bit forgotten about. And I think Milio, it's going to really buff up your autos. So you have two people that can abuse that if Corki decides to go for more of an auto-attacking build.
That's the reason, because you have the combo of the Milio. Even something like a Trinity Force, where you're going to be stringing in autos more often, I think it's beneficial. I am done with the Malignant build on Corki. I wasn't a fan of it, even when it did combo with the clip. Please, let's get off of that now, as we are into the Rift for game number 1, Fear versus LiT.
All right. Early on, I think we have to keep an eye out for Kizno to see if he decides to make any early plays. I think that one of the reasons that we have seen Sejuani kind of crop back into the meta is Trundle got nerfed a wee bit. It's one of the better matchups against Sejuani. It was mostly top lane nerfs, but I think it affected the jungle a little bit too, just because they changed the health. But second off, Sejuani brings so many options for you to make early. Like, you really get to do whatever you want as a jungler as Sejuani. If you full clear, you know, your pacing keeps up with most other full clears. It's not the fastest, but it's okay. You can 3-camp gank with Sejuani if you want. You are a decent skirmisher early, and you bring a great team fight just as a basic tank later on. So I think Sejuani is still a kit that's just so well rounded out, and really why she has come back into the meta, because teams can take her early on. It's a safe blind. It's like, hey, we don't have a ton of terrible matchups, and we can at least do whatever we want later on in the draft. Just, kind of wait to see what our lanes have and have Sejuani kind of fit that mold later on.
Good balance between it, and I'm happy that we're actually taking a look here at both junglers because, historically, reputation-wise, Chad has been known to gank very early and very aggressively. The old, saying about him was it's not a matter of when, or it's not a matter of if, but when, within the first, 5 minutes of the game. So do we see that still working with the Sejuani pick against the Xin Zhao? Because Xin Zhao also has a reputation just as a champion for being something that can go early. Actually, wow. Toasty, well done in the mid lane here. Just hard winning level 1 against messages.
Yeah, he did go for the D-Blade. That's not bad there for Toasty. As the E start, really nice trade. I don't think we see Chad go for much early on. Kizno is the one that's gonna have priority, and I think that given bot push, the real question is, does Kizno decide to go for the Sejuani red or not? There is a trinket on the Raptors right now from LiT. So they're going to see if Sejuani goes for that camp or red. If Sej goes for the Raptors, I could see Xin Zhao wrapping around, trying to contest this red.
He's going for the Wolves for right now. Okay. So as Kizno continues his clear, the ward expires. They know Chad's there, so the information is available for LiT. Do they have the same read, though, that an invade is potential? You don't have shove mid. Toasty is doing a good job of holding this, so I guess that could be the fear if you're the Xin Zhao as well, is, hey, unless messages can bounce this back, you're not going to have a roam faster from your mid lane.
Yeah, it was just a question, if they want to bring Karma up or not. And curiously enough, they brought Rock Boom up at the moment. So Flux is going to have to run away. Rock Boom dropped a very safe ward for Toasty to continue pushing mid. Or I should say for messages in case he gets ganked. Really interesting by LiT to actually bring their marksman all the way up and make sure they get that ward down. Really trying to keep messages safe after that volatile level 1 Toasty created.
Yeah, Rockboom found a little window to get out of that lane early on. All 80 carries in solo queue, take note. You can actually do things in the early levels. Let's see if it actually gets too much for them. It's vision to see if Chad wraps around from that direction, but Chad is currently heading towards the Stride Bush. He's actually spotted himself because of the ward drop by Plux. So the support and 80 carry both tag teaming to make sure they know where Chad is.
And Chad's on full info here. If Kizno really wanted to, he could try to contest the other crowd, but he doesn't have red buff anymore, so I think Kizno's just going to hit that and base and start recycling out his camps. Pretty quiet level 1 or I should say first clear for these junglers is not bad. Overall, I think that Xin does have some windows to invade Sej, but does need help from the lane. And I will also say that if Xin is able to get early items, that's when things get to be a little bit more doable on his side. So yeah, I think LiT taking it easy early is okay.
And I like what Chad did there. If you noticed, he walked back over the vision, back over the Scuttle Crab. He knows that he's seen, but it's just so that his bot lane can get the wave in. And if Kizno's around, he's not going to go for a gank because he's like, well, I know Sejuani's here. It's just a safety hover, even if it's in full information. Honestly, the information might have been better for the side of Fears. Now Kizno goes to the reset, picks up double longsword, and right up to the top Scuttle smites it away. So Chad will not be able to contest that. And we'll just clear out this control ward instead. So Kizno actually gets onto the map a little bit faster and is mounting a slight CS lead in the jungle.
It's a nice map right now for LiT. The double crab is good. The real question is, do they go for grubs? Because for me, LiT, they have the Karma and the Varus bot. That is push where you can use to get a dragon. I also like what Chad's doing here, as Kizno was spotted going towards the top side, so he knows they can sneak in and take the Raptors. That's really good for the Sejuani. This respawn camp still very valuable. So even though Kizno got the double crab, it's still pretty close in jungle, given that Raptors do give some bonus XP on the respawn.
I believe that was a ward by Toasty that was dropped down there. Looking at the timer on it. So mid laner helping out spot where the jungler can go. Kizno will see that his Raptors were taken, so he's back down to the bottom side here as a reset came in from Lens and Daption. Daption's actually walking towards mid lane instead. The grubs are up. I'm wondering if Fear fancy themselves a contest, if they think that they can actually take it. It's warded up. There's the scuttle there from LiT, so they will know if Fear actually try and make a play towards it.
I gotta say, Toasty is really outperforming this mid lane matchup. Usually this is one where historically Azir gets a little bit of shove early on, but this D-Boyd, and given how the level 1 played, it's been very pro Toasty, and he's done a really nice job of, you know, just keeping this shoved in and staying safe. It's top lane. We have also Pop Dragoon. That's a nice HP advantage for him.
Yeah, speaking of solo lanes there, that's pretty solid from Dragoon. Both teleported in, and Dragoon's just running down towards the Honey Fruit. We'll pick that one up. Does he stick with the team, or does he go back to the top lane? He is heading back up there, as we saw an invade come through from Kizno and Plux as well. We love the Karma Xin Zhao combo for that reason. You can just kind of throw the Xin Zhao in there, and it's free for him to invade. So at the end of the day, it was just Raptor for Raptor, as both teams are playing a very slow early game here, 6 minutes 45, which is why we're allowed to talk more about those solo lane matchups. I'm happy you highlight Toasty in the messages. I know the Corki into Azir is usually a snooze fest, but it's a little more exciting when the Corki is able to just out-execute and do better.
We came into this pitching too, like, hey, Toasty, you know, this is a player that's younger and pretty promising. He hasn't been the strongest laner so far in mid, and we weren't expecting him to be that as a rookie. Just like for reference, him and Messages, they have the 2 lowest goal differentials at 15. And I think for Messages, it's been more so the draft that he's had rather than some of the play. Like, he's been on the Seraphine, where you're just kind of trying to like survive the lane, right? And you get really useful later on and more willing to roam. So overall, though, I think Toasty getting a start like this is really nice, and it's something where, you know, you can hopefully use that Corki where you're really safe in the side lane and try and open up some turrets later. Is Kizno, he's going to have to flash,
Speaking of, Philip gets flashed out of Kizno because Corki was actually hovering up towards there. There was nobody in mid. So Kizno gets punished for an invade. Did not check that brush to see if there's a control ward. Good. I don't know if that's Philip's control ward or Chad's, but either way, it covers the invade as the objectives were traded. That was Grub taken by Kizno for the Dragon taken by Chad. I know we've had this conversation many a time, so it's getting a little old now, but I will still slightly lead Dragon way unless your composition excels at hitting turrets with those Grubs. And I don't see LiT's composition as really being like a 1-3-1 or a heavy split push style. So I'm happy with here getting that early Dragon. I feel like if you can stack those up, it'd be a solid win condition.
Yeah, Plate goes over to the Fear bot lane too. I think quietly they've been doing a nice job of getting a little bit ahead. Lens sitting at a little bit of a better item point at the moment. Level 6 will be a tad scary for Rock Boom and Pluck, especially as Chad, all of his clears, has been working his way down, but this time he does have a chance to reverse clear or flip the map. First Dragon is down, and Chad can work his way up. Maybe think about.
I was wondering if they would go for a dive down there. Chad was hovering. He's still hovering. Has smite available, so does Kizno. So just gonna be a smite fight for the blue buff. Chad jumps in. Who's able to get it? Who's got the better press of the D button?
Gonna be Chad.
Chad waiting for his. Oh, Kizno actually gets it away. Chad was waiting for the passive to get that big chunk of damage, and he just misses the smite after.
So if you look at the smites on the scoreboard, it's a 600 smite for Chad right now because he isn't at 20 stacks yet. It's a 900 smite for Kizno. So Kizno was able to use that to get down. Now Dragoon's flashing out.
Yeah, Dragoon has Bramble Vest, so he actually tanks turret underneath if he gets an auto attack on him. Philip abusing that, and he just takes the first blood solo kill. Dragoon with the mistake, and Philip capitalizing on it.
Philip's Aatrox continues to be really strong for himself and Cincy Fear. I know that he hasn't picked up a win on it yet. This was one of Philip's strongest champs when he first was on the come up. And of course, him returning to Fear this year. Good pickup. As again, I think that Fear, like, their solo lanes, or I should say side lanes, so bot and top for me. And they've been pretty good so far this split. And we're seeing that a little bit here. Vens and Daption. Small CS lead in the bot lane. Philip opening things up with a solo kill top. Chad a little bit behind pace in the jungle, but Toasty's been really safe farming. I think Chad's going to be pure utility moving on. Things are set up really nicely right now for Fear. I think that LiT need to think about using messages to start to trade some flashes out so they can at least have a target to look at later on.
And going back to that play top lane, we saw Dragoon make similar early game mistakes on Friday in his series earlier in this weekend, where given first blood, playing too aggressive, playing up under the enemy's turret. But I also see Dragoon as somebody who's able to stabilize incredibly well. So I don't necessarily count LiT out here either. Even if we are saying good start for Fear, we're happy with where they're at. I don't think that their job is going to be necessarily easy going forward. LiT still do have ways to get back into this game. As they get back in, they're only down 650 gold and a dragon, so it's not that big of a deal regardless, but I don't think that Fear have like a monumental lead by any stretch, as I still feel like, yeah, Dragoon's just that guy, you know? Phil's having a great split. I got a lot of faith in Dragoon to be able to kind of impress a lot of people, turn a lot of heads this spring split.
I'm just glad he's in the league. Like him qualifying twice through promotion, it felt really bad. Like, you know, you were qualifying through Supernova, you don't get in, you aren't on the team in summer. LiT, I mean, they're the exact opposite. They kept everyone here. As Dragoon's gonna ult him back.
They're all out. Under turret gets one turret shot onto Philip. Yeah, like Dragoon's just able to do that. If you rest, if you do not respect him, you will get punished, as Philip has flash available, but Kisno's nearby. Philip does flash away when it becomes lightning, does not quite connect. It doesn't at least pull Kisno onto him, so Philip gets out, but has to burn World Ender and the flash.
Looking like he's going to have to TP back too, as Grubs will be skipped right now, as Chad's bot just able to dash out the chains of corruption.
Yeah, that would have been a dead pig, boar, dead boar. There we go. Dead boar right there, as the Azir was nearby as well. Could have gone for the shuffle. But now we don't have Chain of Corruption, so how hard does Lens want to play here now? Just pushes the wave in. I think we're going to stick around for the plate. Kisno, though, is up on the top side. This is going to be 6 grubs if he gets all of them.
Looking like it. Chad sprinting straight to the dragon, as that should be the answer for Fear. And I think that we're going to kind of see what you were pitching, Kangas. Like, how much can LiT abuse these grubs? I will say that getting 6, it feels really good. I mean, if you win any fights, you go from, like, chunking turrets to taking turrets pretty confidently in the post plays. So if LiT can win a fight or two here in the mid game, they can snowball really hard. I think that their comp, they're going to need to survive the Lucian Milio mid game, as Azir, Varus, they're going to feel a lot better later on. Package and TP drop for Toasty. Package. Yeah, 40 seconds left to do something.
So remember, everybody, the Corki changes. It used to be 60 seconds that you can hold on to that package for. Now it's 45. Way less time that you can actually wait for the play. You have to use it like this. I'm actually happy. This is the correct way to use it, I think. Teleport, push the wave. Now you're on the dragon with the package. And if they walk into you, you can package, or you can just use it to burn the dragon, I suppose. Either way, you're prepping it ahead of time, because you can't just grab it early and wait around forever. You got to be very, specific of when you want to grab that. Happy to see Fear at least continue the dragon stacking. It will be the Chemtech Soul.
That's a good use of a timer from them. I think overall they're okay with this early game. The 6 grubs hurts a little bit. Maybe looking back, Fear could, pitch a plan where Chad's able to snipe away 1 or 2 of those early on. But especially with Philip winning that top side. But at the moment, Fear's sitting decent spot. You still have the Corki that's scaling. It looks like Toasty will be going for potentially... It's a long sword, so it's not Malignant second. We like that, Kangas.
Nope. Yeah, very happy with that. Now, is it going to be the Eclipse still? Which I think is still fine on Corki. They removed the interaction with Malignance, but that didn't feel intended anyway. So the Eclipse on its own still very stat effective. Corki wants AD. Scales way better off of AD than AP.
I'm still down with that. I'm curious when we start mixing in the Shojins, because I really think that Shojin slept on right now with Corki. It just enhances...
You want to spam abilities.
Yeah, it enhances all your ability damage. Especially the E damage is pretty big.
Speaking of ability damage there, Lens in the combo onto messages. First time we've really seen the Milio Lucian go for an aggressive play. They weren't making too many plays in that bot lane, but they rotate up here. They chunk out messages. They're going to the Herald.
And this is what I was saying that LiT kind of has to respect and survive in the mid game. Just Lucian, when you press R, you outrange everything on the side of LiT. And now LiT, they're relegated to looking for a play bot. Toasty is taken low.
Wonder if Rockboom, yeah, just throwing out the ultimate chain of corruption. Dive from Kizno, and a good pickup from LiT. Well executed from the bot lane and the jungler, capitalized on a Toasty being there.
I mean, that's real nice from LiT for a response, because with 6 grubs, you get some free time with that bot turret. It could easily be first brick now.
It could be, and the Herald turns into a turret eventually if you play your cards right. The turret's a turret. I'd love to actually look bot lane. No, Rockboom's backing, so I don't think they're actually going to fully commit to it. All right.
He got some grubs to spawn, and he's going to be able to keep tempo up. I'm okay with that. They also have to just defend a potential Rift play, so they are respecting that by basing.
Ooh.
So I think overall from that's okay. Still going to be really happy about the trade, and now a potential dive.
We have Glacial Prison. Yeah, Chad's going to throw it out.
Good
Messages
hover.
is nearby. Dragoon stops the back. Messages is here. Now
want
Chad says, all right, never mind. We are not executing that play.
No, that's good from LiT, and that's part of why they didn't stay for that bot turret, just to make sure that they were able to respond to such a play in the map. I really like Messages hovering Dragoon. Dragoon's going to be forced to base there, and now Fear, they're on the back foot in terms of tempo, thanks to that deploy from LiT. The fact that they sent a solo lane, so that lane that's crashing, now they can push up and actually pressure Philip on that side, and Dragoon can just catch that wave bot.
Philip's in danger.
That's coming
Philip
in.
has ultimate, but he does not have flash.
Good
Kizno's
series.
here. Messages, and Kizno's just going to go for double dives. Ooh, the Emperor's Divide doesn't quite land. Philip does have World Ender. He's actually outplaying Messages hardcore right now. Oh, the dive is botched, and a double kill to Philip. Well, you know what? An attempt was made, Cubby.
Sometimes, Kangas, I just have to sit here in disappointment. The Emperor's Divide hit the turret, and that was it. We didn't like that one.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey, it's Challengers League. It's the developmental league.
You know what?
It's mostly about the setup, execution. We can work on.
The series was good.
Later.
Like, the map state's good. The fact that LiT was able to...
This is a good play, yeah.
It was a good series from LiT, and then Messages just... the EQ, it looked like he queued before he E'd, so... He doesn't, like, find the guaranteed connect on the Philip, and Philip's like, thank you very much. I'm going to press R, hit all my knockouts, and get the healing back. He's chilling. That's an easy double kill for him. Philip comms during that. I can't wait to hear that one in the Fear videos.
I very much so want to know. Because, again, even if you land the Emperor's Divide, you're pushing Philip between the turrets closer to where his jungler is. Yeah. I don't even think they kill him if that lands, honestly.
I can just hear Philip going like, guys, I'm the GOAT, you know?
Yeah. In that really soft Philip voice. Like, yeah, what are they doing? You know?
And then Daption's like, holy crap, dude, you're smurfing, man. That's the best part about this team. The top and support are like the 2 dopamine players. So everyone in between just gets hyped up by the boys. You know?
So Philip gets a solo kill on Dragoon, now a double kill. How much more dopamine could you ask for here, as he might have a 1v2? Can he outplay this one? World Ender's available. He does pop it. Flash available this time, too. He's going to have to use it to get out of there. Flashes away. Doesn't land the final knockup. Sweet spot. Dragoon gets the shutdown.
It's right before Dragon, too, so LiT can deny the soul point going over to Fear. They're getting pushed into the top side of that bot river.
Oh, Chain of Corruption.
Okay, that's good.
Did that miss?
No, it was
I think
fun.
that Breath of Life was just timed there alongside it. Right as it landed. So well done from Daption. As now Toasty gets a turret top. Is just hard pushing in up here. Yeah, okay, Dragoon might stop it. Yeah, okay, Dragoon makes it in time. Toasty doesn't get the full turret. Was worried about that one. Jet's still hanging around here. Messages. Oh! Gets kicked back. It's still ours. Messages. Oh, that's so rough. 2 in a row. But the team still has control of the access point to the Dragon. For how much longer, though? Teleport coming in for Philip. He just died, but he's back up. No flash, no ultimate, but he can still be a front line. Oh, double knockup on the Messages and Flux. That should be enough for Fear to secure the Dragon. LiT do not control the river anymore.
Man, Messages is just protesting missing the Super Bowl here, as those are a couple field goals that have gone wide in those Emperor's Divide. Really nice cue from Daption to make sure that the combo was delayed. Ended up looking a little bit goofy there, and LiT missed out their timer. Like, that bot kill, they got 3 ults pushing into mid. That's really good for them. And then they just flubbed the execution in the back place. So this Dragon that I think really should have been theirs, there's no play for it.
You know, that type of Q from Daption is the reason it's called the Ultra Mega Fire Kick.
That's true,
like,
yeah.
It can have that high of an impact. Like, not only did you knock him back, but you also got in his head so much that the ability still went out after the fact. I don't even think he processed what the situation he found himself in was. The situation he finds himself now is Fear on their 3rd Dragon. Soul point acquired. There's just one more until they get that juicy soul. They also still have that gold lead for themselves. So LiT, despite having a moment in this game where it felt like they had a lead they could play with, starting to fall away from them, Cubby.
I mean, I do really like how Fear has played this one out. I know it's been quiet.
No.
And there was a couple oopsies on the side of Philip. Are you looking at the Malignants coming in, Kangas?
I'm looking at Toasty, who picked up an amp toe.
Yeah.
Toasty, you were the supposed to be the savior.
You know,
you were the promised one.
You can outrange on hit Varus and Azir. We'll see if Fear plays disciplined enough. We're gonna embrace the positivity here, Kangas.
I'm not. You can do that. I hate this.
Wow, I'm glad that we started the show with me being like the Chiefs need to lose, and now it's passed on to you in a League of Legends related way. Like, this must lose.
You've changed me. I still blame you. I take no responsibility for this one here.
I've changed. He's now a hate watcher. Yeah, that's how you become a true fan, when you start hate watching. You know.
True. Didn't we say that about? We joked about that week one. I don't remember what league we were talking about, but Cubby's a big fan of pushing for that.
I mean, France being 07 was hilarious. Let's be honest.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
They were 07.
Right over my head. Oh, right, it was K-Corp. Yeah. That was it. You're right. That
funny.
Is what the reference was. For some reason, I heard France. I was thinking soccer or something. But anyway,
I mean, that was.
Well, now all the KC fans are going to be coming into our DMs. So,
well, that's fine.
Gotta watch out for that one, Cubby.
That's fine. I do want to get back into this one. Baron has spawned on the map. The LiT Baron is very quick. That is a comeback mechanic. So I think Fear has to be wary of that. But I don't think Fear have any plans to starting this Baron. They're just going to play for the Chemtech Soul that is new and improved this season. It's actually very useful.
It's a higher priority dragon this time around. Do you actually happen to know offhand the win percentages with Dragon Souls? Because I know that Chemtech was like one of the lowest, if not the lowest, from last year.
I wish we had a stats guy for Challengers. Unfortunately, you know, LCS.
Let me get Leo on the phone.
Yeah.
Check with LCS. Yeah.
I'm gonna say, like, in terms of just gut feeling, I think that Ocean is now the least useful soul. I think that Ocean is actually like conditional. There's a little bit more damage in the game, so I think that you can execute fights and kind of ignore Ocean Soul. I think that Chemtech and Infernal, for me, is like kind of the... I think Chemtech's like in the middle. I still think that Mountain and Hextech are the two strongest souls, and then I probably put Chemtech next.
I don't think Hextech, as long as there's a slow applied, will ever be, like, not the top one. The fact that you get, like, CC on everybody is just kind of crazy.
But,
like, catching up on the game state as well, because we don't have the Dragon Soul fight yet. We did see a couple turrets taken there. Lens and Daption finally cracking the mid, as now it's a 3-to-1 turret advantage for Fear. All the outer turrets have been claimed, and we have 2 minutes until that Dragon. LiT are just trying to keep vision around the top side in case that Baron is the focus, but I still don't think that there's going to be a heavy focus from Fear to try and rush that one down. They're happy to just play this one out. They have the lead right now, 3K, specifically in mid lane here, as there's almost the Malignance purchase. I mean, it still gives you stats as Corki, so I'm not going to say it's useless. I still think there's better things to build, but once you get that, big spike for Toasty regardless.
And of course, decreasing MR does help with all of Corki's damage, as it is majority magic damage from the auto attacks, so it's not all bad. Flux might be in trouble here. He's kind of spotted around the corner. I don't know if LiT has spotted Chad here.
Chad is now spotted as he decided to walk up into the wave. Phillips bot side pushing their messages, pushing top side, so Toasty will head up to answer the Azir. Nobody's answering Phillip yet. Now he's TPing. Oh, we're making a play on messages. I love this from Fear. Get onto the Azir. He has flash available, has ultimate available. Knockup lands from Phillip, and messages is not going to find an outplay. Toasty picks up the kill credit, and they pick off the enemy mid laner. 5 members around the Baron.
I think saving both was okay for messages, because maybe you can save it for a soul fight. He was not going anywhere in that top lane, as he was well caught out. Really good TP and execute from Fear, who have played this though simple game and have really just beat LiT at every turn, it feels like.
Baron buff at 24 minutes, ain't too shabby. 30 seconds before the Dragon spawns, as now they can get back out onto the map, retake control. Toasty has teleport. I haven't been tracking to see the package timers for when the Dragon's up. I know that at the second Dragon, he used it on Dragon, which the benefit of that is he'll have it available for the next Dragon fight. We'll have to see if he has the package this time around. That's going to be the only saving grace for LiT, is if they don't have to worry about that in the fight.
I think he's got it.
He's got it. Okay, really good timing from Toasty. and he's got the Malignance TPs available.
Yep.
Toasty's been playing the Corki exceptionally well. This is what Corki's all about, knowing your timers and when you can actually get back onto the map.
I do think that with the 45-second window, it's a little bit more important to make sure that you're pairing TP with this take just to get on the map and be strong. And oh, that's a big ult. Here we go.
Going for Glacial Prison. Flux flashes away, but in goes Philip. Toasty actually jumped in and goes down early on. Kizno's trying to frontline for his team as Philip's just on top of everybody. He's not going down. Messages still alive. Rockboom's still alive. Never mind. Messages falls down. Flash forward from Lens for the double kill as he'll look for Rockboom as well. Turn his attention on Dragoon instead. Rockboom should survive. Dragoon might get away here, but he's getting chased by a Sejuani. The slow's coming through. The Sejuani passive lands a stun. Lens is there for the damage. Dragoon is just really tanky, but they will eventually take down the Cassante. That is a Dragon Soul earned for Fear.
Decent attempt from LiT. It was a really good chain of corruptions from Rockboom. Connected onto Toasty immediately. He wasn't even able to flash out. He melted, but the rest of the fight, you can see Messages try to hold the door. It's just LiT being a little bit behind. It's a good engage. They find a good start to the target. Getting Flux, he can't cleanse out, so immediately flash, but that's chain of corruption. Yeah. Toasty falls, and then Messages nearly is able to peel Philip all the way off. Kizno just kind of melts on his own in the back half, and Lens really takes over the back of this fight, as there was nothing else stopping him from going in. Rockboom, no ult. Messages, no ult. Lens just dashes in. Talks about how he picks his spot well. Late in the fight, all these cooldowns are down. Lens knows he can get in there, and he made good use of it.
And if you watch the vision toggle there, we didn't get the vision toggle, but there was a control ward in the brush. No wards from LiT in that brush. They didn't even see Lens jump forward. So Fear get the Dragon Soul. They still have the Baron for about 30 more seconds, it looks like here, based on the timer in the bottom left corner. They have a lot to work with, and it's looking like a Game 1 victory for Cincinnati Fear. They played patient. They didn't play super aggressive, super fast early on, but they are being rewarded for that. Toasty with 3 items, even if he dies early in the fight, I mean, his ultimate basically one-shot Kizno after the fact, and Lens is online now.
I mean, it was a slower game, but I think it was a nice game from Fear. Like, Toasty in an isolated lane was able to win pretty hard. I think LiT just stumbled upon themselves a couple times. Like, that top play from Messages, the ult just completely whiffing really hurt them. Same with mid. The good news for Messages is he doesn't have to play the Azir again this series, right? He can wait to bust us out until another one with Fearless Draft.
It is one of his most played. It is now actually his most played, as this is his 3rd game on the champion.
He's gonna want this game back.
3rd series.
Yeah, it has not been the best look from Messages from Wayne and all of it, but a chance for him to bounce back in game 2 against Toasty is looking like Fear is gonna take this 1-0. And honestly, Fear, this is a team coming into this game, because we talked about how the chaos of Chad wasn't really able to be followed up upon by Toasty. Well, with the Corki and Chad keeping the map rather neutral, you're just won.
Yeah, it's funny to see Chad play this style and find so much success, considering he had spent so much time in his career kind of creating his own style. And it's not this slow, methodical, scale up, be the tank, be the front line, let my laners get to that point. It was always about, hey, I'm going to pull my laners to me and invade the jungle, go for these early ganks, try make action happen. But you love to see it. That's kind of the point of this league, right? Growth from the players.
Yeah, and I mean, we know that Chad's a smart player, right? Like, it's part of why he goes in a lot, but oftentimes it is calculated. It's just being smart in a different way. And I think that with Chad, I mean, talking with him, part of why he wanted to work with Toasty is that he knew that he was going to be more the veteran voice amongst the two, right? And he has learned from players like Lyoma, like Pretty, about how to, like, make mid-jungle work. He was excited to be on the other side of that this time around. And also, we talked about Kenby coming from LCS and how much he's learned. That's the person that Chad initially replaced to win that first PG in 21. It's good to see Chad also show that, his time playing consistently at this level, he's learned too. He can slow things down and play well. I think it was a controlled map from Fear, and the early grubs for Dragon trades ended up paying off, and now minute till Baron. Let's see if Fear can set this one up. 6k Goldie, they have everything going for him, and it should be an easy close.
It is still crazy to think that Chad and Philip are the veteran voices on this roster. It does make you feel a little old. But for these players, I mean, this is kind of their journey is not intending to end at this level. They are still trying to make that push towards the LCS. So for them, It's this kind of, hey, it's time to prove ourselves. It's time to show that we can step up and have this carry performance from Philip, that we can change the style from Chad. So I think overall, even though they're 1-1 in series, very early in the split for them.
Oh, it's promising.
They haven't played that many. This is very promising start.
I'm excited to see more of Fear because, again, they're the one team that has taken a game off of YC. I think that they've looked good in their games. The one game they dropped to Mirage Alliance in that series even, it was really just a mid-diff. And like RJS had a beautiful game that was really well supported from Mirage Alliance, but after that, I mean, Fear and Toasty, they came back, and now it's been again a really calm game. I think Fear capitalized well upon the couple times that it stumbled upon themselves. The messages get strong.
Oh
wow, well played, Vans.
Lens hitting every single shot until the blast cone went off. Messages wondering, where'd my health bar go? Yeah, he's got flash away. Philip interrupting the back, so no flash on Azir as the Baron is on the table. No flash shuffle play now. Messages is going to have to do it the old-fashioned way. Can try and TP in here, but how does the team approach? Philip's waiting on the flank. Look at Philip's decision here. This is actually going to be huge. Rockroom does not know.
Oh, he's still not spotted. There he is.
They now see it. Now it's panic from LiT. Now it's what do we do from this position? Philip's in front of everybody, buying so much space for the team to now look at Dragoon, who does go all out onto Philip. Philip's still alive. Just straight taking everything while the team shreds through everyone else. Philip said, hey, look at me. And the team says, thank you, top laner. We'll take a team fight. We'll take a clean 0 for 5 ace. And that's probably just the game right there.
And how about that Chemtech Soul Aatrox, man? He really abuses Chemtech Soul pretty well. As, of course, a little bit more survivability. Looked pretty good on the Philip, who's really started to get things moving with Fear with that failed dive top. And Philip, the rest of Fear capitalized well. Really nice game from them.
Solid performance from all of Fear members, but Philip in particular, man. What this guy's able to do if he can get a lead is starting to turn heads. Fear strike first in the best of 3 series, taking down LiT Esports, and they're looking damn good doing it.
I mean, who wants more heals, man? Take some Chemtech Soul. Aatrox certainly doesn't want to need any of those, right?
Probably not.
No, yeah. I don't think he used
I don't see him benefiting from that very much.
No.
Especially with Amelia on top of him, too. Yeah.
Good game from Fear. I know I talked about LiT. You know, sometimes their games, I've seen them explode in early mid-game, for better or worse. That was definitely one of the worst. I think that LiT, they had some good ideas in terms of map plays. Like, the top play where Philip got a double, they set that up really well with how they played the map and the deploy. The execution completely whiffed, and that kind of felt like the story for LiT. Like, the couple fights they tried to execute completely whiffed, and then their comp needed more time to get scale. They were outranged pretty heavily by Lucian and Corki, and Fear beat them pretty good.
You can call it a throw, you can call it a catch, whatever you call it. It's a game 1 win
Football
for
references.
Cincinnati Fear. We're going to send it to a short break before we are back with our second game in the series right after this.
Do we have as good a commercials as Super Bowl, man? Who knows?
They said it couldn't be done. They said the world would never accept a cookie this long. Or a churro, and probably not a pretzel either. They also said under no circumstances should those really long and delicious treats be wildly affordable. To which we said, but we already made them. And they are. Introducing the incredible new foot-long sidekicks. Get one at Subway today.